There is a grain that contains more protein than any cereal on earth. It grows in soil so poor that corn would wither and die. It survives drought that devastates wheat. And for 8,000 years, it was the foundation of the most powerful empire in the Americas. Then the Spanish came. They did not just conquer the people, they conquered the food. They made this grain illegal to grow. They burned the fields. They executed anyone caught with seeds. Not because it failed, because it was too powerful. A crop that builds empires cannot be tolerated by those who wish to build their own. And what sustains rebellion cannot be permitted to exist. This is the story of the sacred grain that the conquistadors tried to erase from history. They almost succeeded. Almost. Welcome to Traditional Harvest. Before we open this vault, if these stories matter to you, the best way to preserve this wisdom is simple. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share these vaults with those who need to remember what the world forgot. The archive opens in the Valley of Mexico, 6,000 years before Spanish ships appeared on the horizon. The people who would become the Aztecs gathered wild seeds from a plant with blood-red leaves. They called it huautli, the grain of the gods. This is amaranth, Amaranthus cruentus, Amaranthus hypochondriacus. The name comes from the Greek amaranthos, meaning unfading, the one that does not wither. The ancients knew what they were naming. By 4000 BCE, amaranth was fully domesticated. It spread across Mesoamerica, becoming one of the 4 foundational crops alongside corn, beans, and squash. But amaranth held a status the others did not. It was sacred. The Aztec Empire demanded tribute from conquered peoples. Records show that 20,000 tons of amaranth flowed into Tenochtitlan every year. That is the same quantity as corn. Equal in importance to the crop that defined civilization itself. But amaranth was more than food. It was flesh. During the festival of Huitzilopochtli, priests mixed amaranth flour with honey and human blood. They shaped it into the image of the god. The people consumed it together, taking the divine into their bodies. Communion, transubstantiation. The same rituals that would later define Christianity existed here first, built around a grain. When Hernan Cortes arrived in 1519, he understood immediately. This was not just agriculture, this was power. The amaranth ceremonies bound the people together. They fed bodies and spirits simultaneously. A population unified by sacred grain could not be easily broken. So he broke the grain instead. In 1521, after the fall of Tenochtitlan, the Spanish issued decrees. Growing amaranth became punishable by death. Possessing seeds meant having your hands cut off. Fields were burned. Stores were destroyed. The ceremonies were outlawed as devil worship. Catholic priests, horrified by rituals that mirrored their own Eucharist, declared amaranth the food of Satan. Within 1 generation, cultivation dropped by 90%. Within 2 generations, most people in Mexico had never seen the plant their grandparents considered sacred. A crop that had fed millions for 8,000 years vanished in less than 50 years. This was not an accident. This was erasure, deliberate, systematic, complete. But amaranth refused to die. It survived in remote mountain villages where Spanish authority could not reach. It grew wild along roadsides, dismissed as a weed. Indigenous families who remembered planted it in secret, passing seeds from mother to daughter. The knowledge went underground, waiting. Let us talk about what the conquistadors tried to destroy. Amaranth contains 13 to 14% protein. Compare that to wheat at 10%, rice at 7%, corn at 9%. But the numbers alone do not tell the story. It is the quality that matters. Amaranth is a complete protein. It contains all 9 essential amino acids in proper proportions. This is almost unheard of in the plant kingdom. Lysine, the amino acid that limits the nutritional value of almost every grain, is abundant in amaranth. 100 grams of amaranth provides 747 milligrams of lysine. Wheat provides 303 milligrams. This made amaranth essential for civilizations without abundant meat. Combined with corn, which is low in lysine but high in other amino acids, amaranth created complete nutrition. The Aztecs did not need imported protein. They grew it. The fat content is 7%, 3 times higher than most grains. This includes squalene, a compound usually found in shark liver oil, used for immune function and skin health. Amaranth is one of the only plant sources. The mineral content defies explanation. Iron at 7.6 milligrams per 100 grams, twice the iron of wheat. Calcium at 159 milligrams, magnesium at 248 milligrams, phosphorus at 557 milligrams. These are not supplement numbers. This is food. And the fiber, 6.7 grams per 100 grams, promotes gut health in ways industrial diets cannot replicate. The Aztecs did not have laboratories. They did not measure amino acids, but they knew. 8,000 years of observation taught them what science later confirmed. This grain builds empires. Modern research has validated what colonizers tried to bury. Studies show amaranth lowers cholesterol. Peptides released during digestion inhibit enzymes involved in hypertension. Animal studies suggest it reduces inflammation markers. Human trials show improved cardiovascular health. The sacred grain is medicine, and it grows where nothing else will. Amaranth thrives in poor soil. It tolerates drought that kills corn. It survives heat that devastates wheat. It grows at altitudes where other crops cannot breathe. In the Andes, farmers cultivate it above 10,000 feet. In Africa, it survives on 400 millimeters of annual rainfall. In India, it grows on land too saline for rice. The yield is staggering for such a resilient plant. A single plant produces up to 500,000 seeds. An acre can yield 1,500 pounds of grain. Compared to the inputs required for wheat or corn, amaranth asks for almost nothing and gives everything. No irrigation, no fertilizer, no pesticides, no corporate seed contracts. Just sunlight, poor soil, and patience. You see the problem now. A crop that grows without permission cannot be controlled. A grain that does not need annual seed purchases cannot generate perpetual revenue. A food that makes populations healthy and independent cannot be tolerated by systems built on dependency. The Spanish understood this in 1521. Industrial agriculture understands it today. After the conquest, amaranth survived only in fragments. In the mountains of Oaxaca, Mixtec families kept it alive. In Peru, Quechua farmers remembered. In the Himalayan regions of Nepal and India, related species continued to feed remote communities. The grain that conquistadors tried to exterminate persisted at the margins, waiting for the world to remember. The rediscovery began slowly. In the 1970s, scientists studying ancient nutrition stumbled onto amaranth. They were shocked. A grain more nutritious than any cereal, with complete protein growing on marginal land? Why had no one mentioned this? They traced the history. They found the decrees. They understood. In 1977, the National Academy of Sciences published a report calling amaranth one of the most promising food crops for the developing world. The research stations began trials. The results confirmed what the Aztecs knew. This grain outperforms modern crops on difficult land. But industrial agriculture had already conquered the world. Wheat, corn, rice, and soybeans dominated every supply chain. The infrastructure was built for annual crops requiring constant inputs. Amaranth did not fit. It still does not fit. Today, global amaranth production is measured in thousands of tons. Wheat production is measured in hundreds of millions. The ratio tells you everything about priorities. You cannot patent amaranth. It has been cultivated for 8,000 years. It belongs to humanity. You cannot sell herbicides for a crop that outcompetes weeds naturally. You cannot sell fertilizer for a crop that thrives on neglect. You cannot create dependency when farmers save their own seed and replant indefinitely. Every trait that makes amaranth valuable for survival makes it worthless for extraction. So it is called niche, specialty, alternative. The same language is used for everything industrial systems cannot monetize. But the knowledge is spreading. In Mexico, indigenous communities are reclaiming huautli. They planted in milpas alongside corn and beans, restoring the ancient polycultures that sustained their ancestors. They make alegria, popped amaranth bound with honey, sold in markets as it was sold 500 years ago. In Africa, amaranth greens have become vital nutrition. The leaves contain more protein than spinach and more calcium than milk by weight. Organizations fighting malnutrition distribute seeds. Farmers learn that the wheat in their fields is survival itself. In India, Rajgira production is expanding. The grain is permitted during Hindu fasting periods because it is not technically a cereal. What began as a religious exception became nutritional advantage. Traditions preserved what commerce would have erased. In the United States, health food stores sell amaranth flour. Gluten-free bakers discovered it. Celiac patients found a grain that does not destroy their bodies. The market is small but growing. The resurrection is happening, one garden at a time, one farmer at a time, one family at a time. The resurrection is quiet and steady. Climate change is accelerating the return. The crops that feed 8 billion people were bred for conditions that are ending. Wheat requires predictable rainfall. Corn requires deep irrigation. Rice requires flooded paddies. These systems are failing. Amaranth was bred for chaos. It evolved in the highlands where drought and frost and poor soil were constants. It does not need stable conditions. It needs only light and time. Chaos is its advantage. When the rivers dry and the aquifers empty, when the heat kills wheat in the fields, when industrial agriculture cannot maintain the illusion of control, amaranth will be ready. It has been ready for 8,000 years. The pattern is always the same. Crops that enable sovereignty are erased. Crops that require dependency are promoted. The Spanish burned amaranth fields in 1521. Industrial agriculture ignores amaranth in 2024. The methods change, the logic does not. But you cannot erase what refuses to die. Amaranth means unfading. The Greeks named it well. The conquistadors burned the fields, but seeds survived in hidden valleys. Industrial agriculture promotes wheat, but amaranth waits in every forgotten corner. Huautli, Kiwicha, Rajgira, a dozen names across a dozen cultures. The same grain, the same persistence, the same refusal to disappear. The Aztecs mixed it with blood and called it divine. They were not wrong. A complete protein that grows without inputs on marginal land, feeding populations that would otherwise starve. If that is not sacred, nothing is. We did not lose amaranth. They tried to take it from us. They banned it, burned it, executed people for growing it. And still it grew. The seeds are available. The knowledge is spreading. The forgotten grain is being remembered. 8,000 years of cultivation, 500 years of suppression. And still it waits in the soil, ready for anyone willing to plant it. The conquistadors failed. The corporations have failed. Amaranth persists. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe to Traditional Harvest and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon.